How many of you knew that there are not only separate buildings in the world, but entire prisons dedicated exclusively to women prisoners? They do exist. It's like men's prisons. Of these, there are the ones where it's easy to figure out the system, but there are also not so simple ones. What's exactly going on in these prisons? There is, first of all, a very complex contingent: thieves, murderers, drug dealers, and in a number of places in the Muslim East and South Asia, there are reasons which are hard to understand for a Western person. The ladies, they just forgot to get a divorce before they got married a second time. This is Flip Side of History. Welcome. Today's episode will be dedicated to women's prisons around the world. Let's continue this episode. Keep watching. Chowchilla, California, USA. 35,000 prisoners, the largest one in the world. It is known for the fact that the guards not only turn a blind eye to the showdown of the fair sex, but even bet on the fights themselves. Aggression quickly turns into major riots. Sad after all, but the most desperate are brought here. In this case, no one who is corrected can count on safety. There are no guarantees of life. They say the truth right away. If you want to live, know how to fight back. If a weakling accidentally thunders here, then she will form a fighting mentality. Valley, California, US. The block itself is small, only for 2,500 people who broke the law. It is located right in front of Chowchilla. Some officers take advantage of their official position to satisfy their lust, thirst for self-assertion, or simply bring out the accumulated tension on the prisoners. True though, privileges can be bought. Then no one will touch you, and no one excludes it. And they do not react in any way to most complaints about well-being. It is believed that devious ladies feign. But the place is mostly not for repeat offenders. More often than not, those who happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time get here. Excessive guarding and etc. Prison Bula Acharhi, Afghanistan. As was customary in the Middle Ages, prisoners die of starvation. Basic amenities are not available for prisoners. Even men can view this organization as a long-form murder. Often many prisoners are held in solitary confinement for weeks, unable to go anywhere. It is a form of psychological torture. The symmetry of this zone is, sadly, rapidly expanding. Even those who do not have a lifetime sentence oftentimes do not come out. However, the official authorities do not dare to confirm this officially. The interrogations are extremely brutal. The most unique thing about this place is that you can get here for a violation which, by the standards of the Western person, leads to a simple fine. Tihar Jail, India. The total amount of around 17,000 people, 3 times the design capacity of the correctional complex. As a result, the unsanitary conditions and air here are such that your yard dunghill will seem like a real paradise for you. Attacks by some groups of convicts on others are not stopped in any way, only in the event of some kind of overwhelming brawl. It so happens that money is extorted from the clients themselves and their relatives. Rumor has it that half of the vacationers of this noisy place came here without trial and investigation. If someone wishes to make a fortune through a guessing game, he can be sent back to prison. Bangkok Women's Correctional Institution, Thailand. 2,000 young maids of honor in a room which is designed for only 500 people. Sanitary procedures and medical care must still be earned. This is the main luxury here. Skin and other infectious diseases are the norm and not the exception. We also have not to forget that here everyone sweats 24/7. The heat in this part of Thailand is simply suffocating. A lot of insects and etc. Without proper hygiene, it's a real hell. But this is not the most dangerous thing for the life of the beauties, or not so beauties after such conditions. Many have chains on their legs. Rose Singer Center, Rikers Island, New York, US. 10,000 people inside. Criminals in this location will not live a single day without black and blue mark or some kind of health problem. Why? Fights that are not condemned in any way. To put it mildly, careless treatment performed by staff, medical negligence, and as a result, a record number of deaths in this horrific place in the United States. The chances of survival are minimal. How come? Who is being held here? 85% of women haven't even been sentenced yet. The rest are serving only short sentences. What is this punishment for? Well, let us explain. Regrettably, but only those guards who have been dismissed from other colonies come to work here. This has not been officially confirmed, but it has already been published in many places that Rikers Island is the only point in the world of its kind. This is the place where gladiatorial fights are held. Many were beaten to death in this place. One of the prisoners who was killed in this way was to be released from prison the next day, which was a complete shame. Many in the New York mayor's chair agreed with the protesters that Rose should be shut down, and half of the staff there will no longer be allowed to do any kind of work. So what? So far, nothing changed. The thing is that many people suffer from violent mental illnesses, or at times, the ones that are not being treated properly. They need to release aggression somewhere. The guards don't want themselves to be targeted, so they regularly let these psychos blow off steam. Calm girls or women are on the verge of despair every single day. Alcalá de Guaidera, Spain. This prison can be called a coffin made of concrete, filled to the brim with women's tears and suffering. After all, this is old Europe, the region of the world famous for its humanity, tolerance, and democracy. Or is it? But it was in Spain, and not elsewhere in Afghanistan, Somalia, or Honduras, which are considered third world countries, that every second convict complained about the conditions of detention. Such statistics have not been seen anywhere in the world. Limp-wristed maybe, or what's the real issue? On the one hand, there is the already well-known from previous chapters overcrowding. Second of all, the jail keepers like to let all sorts of experimental psychiatrists in here to perform experiments on people. And the local skilled individuals themselves are not averse to sophistication in mental, physical, and emotional violence. Let's also say that a good half of Europe's women's prison thrillers are based on stories from those who have indeed returned. They tried to nip in the bud such things as shame, reasonable nervousness at sight of grim reality, self-esteem, and plans for the future. Tests on the psyche can begin at any second. They do not warn about the tests. Journalists are not allowed here, and it's obvious. Something can be learned from those who have been liberated. Pedrinhas Women's Detention Center, Marano, Brazil. Based on statistical data, it is in Brazil that the highest frequency of crimes is committed. There are neighborhoods, and a lot of them, in large cities where the police don't go. It's incredibly dangerous there. If something happens, the National Guard is called. Thus, it is not a surprise for many that it is here that the strictest prison for women is being set. One can only dream of safety in this area. If you don't get beaten, then you haven't woken up yet. This is the truth. Just occasionally do they communicate here just in words, without using hands. Hot-tempered Brazilian women, like Brazilian men, fight often. And if one of the troublemakers wants to sit quietly, then the others will definitely provoke that person for a fight. Without a doubt, in the eyes of Brazilian guards, all this is the absolute norm. They are used to it. When the blood starts flowing, the guards will intervene no matter what, right? Or maybe they won't at some occasions. There are whispers that they are betting on the number of deaths in the massive Hunger Games. Beastly joy to its full capacity. Pedrinhas is an unhealthy lottery, where the jackpot is not some sort of prize, but life itself. If you do not win, you don't live. We should mention that in 2013 there was a brawl from which 60 people did not come out, and 3 of them were literally beheaded. Once again, overpopulated zones, which leads to unsanitary conditions. You know what the climate in the tropics is. Recently, people have been blown out of energy by mandatory exercise, but it would be more correct to call it a kind of amity. Sadly, there is too much going on to keep track of and put things in order, and that's why no one wants this wholeheartedly desired order anymore. Thank you for watching this episode. Subscribe to get notified when new episodes will come out and leave a like. And for now, see you later.